Hey guys and welcome. Today we're going to do a new random level generator system for multiplayer. So usually how I do random level gen is like this actually, so like in a grid like that. What I thought might be interesting today, instead of just generating it in a grid, is we'll pick an off point from the starting tile, whether it's on the top, left, right or bottom, and we'll spawn a tile there, and then on the next generation of tiles we will pick an off point from all the current tiles spawned. So what you'll end up with is this thing that branches out in a sort of obscure shape, and it could go any direction you want, and it can cycle through a list of however many tiles that you give it and spawn them in whatever order. Everything that I build today will be available for download, and there will be a link to those project files in the description if you want to dig through what I've made today. I'll just put it to use. So let's start, shall we? We'll do this in a blueprint class, and this is going to be for multiplayer. So I'm going to call this BP, I don't know, branching random level gen. Okay. And I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do this yet. Like, this is it's going to be freestyle. Let me just turn that music down so I don't get too distracted. Okay, so we're going to have a starting point in the center. So maybe what we will do, is have a int vector. Let me just have a think about this and I'll come back. Okay, so how we're going to do this at begin play, we're going to start with an int vector of 0, 0, 0, and these are our starting positions. We're only going to use the X and the Y, but what we're going to do is the first thing, because this is 0, 0, 0 just here, we're going to select a point that branches from this center. So to do that, maybe what we could do, we'll do this in a function in just a moment, but we'll break it and we will have a, maybe let's just put this in a function and we'll call this get branching coordinate, and this can be a pure function, and this is going to be origin coordinate. Okay, so when this fires, well, let's put a return node in first actually, and what do we want? We want a coordinate output. So let's have an int vector. Let's have an int vector there, and we'll call that branch coordinate. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll select here, and there's a potential of 4 values, I suppose. So maybe what we'll do is we'll have a random int in range, probably from stream. We'll set up the stream down here, so this will just be a random stream like that. I've got an empty variable there that I'll just delete from before. So 0 through to 3, which means we'll want those options in there like that. Now if this draws a 0, then I suppose what we'll do, I might have to make all of these manually, so we'll have make int vector like that, copy, copy, copy. So the first case is, say X is the same, but we add a Y. You could probably skip ahead if you already know what I'm going to do here. It'll save you some time. The second case is that X is added to Y and Y is the same, or X is added 1 and then Y is the same rather. And let me just get this origin coordinate here, and then we're just going to do the same thing but with negatives over here. So copy those in. So X minus 1 now, and Y is the same, and then Y minus 1 in there, and then X is the same. So these are the 4 potential locations from each branch. Okay, so that is done like that. And let me just restart my editor because it's starting to do this glitch thing. This is the music I'm listening to. It's on YouTube somewhere. Yeah, it's cool shit. Okay, sorry, I need to get back to my blueprint. Okay, so this is getting a branching coordinate. Now, from 0, 0, 0, this is fine. This is now going to be the new location for the spawn point. So what we will do is we will break that. And we will multiply X by a float, which will be tile size, because we're going to be generating this map in tiles. And I think my tile size is 2,500. You can measure that. Where the hell is my map? This one. You can measure that by just going Alt J, and just across like that. So tile size. And this is where we want to make a level transform. Okay, so I just had a little bit of a think about how we're going to do this. Now that we've got the coordinate of where we're going to spawn this level, we need to actually spawn the level instance. So let's get streaming level is what we want, and from that we can say create instance. If I can frickin' spell, not like a retard. And we'll append in here, we need to give it a unique instance name, which I suppose can just be the coordinates. So we could go the X in there, and then a little cross, and then a Y in there. So that'll be unique every time. When this is spawned, we'll need to set the transform. We might save a reference to these just because. So this will be streaming levels, which we might use later. And the level transform, we'll have to make an array. Make a transform, rather. I think I said that in the last video as well. So the location will be there, like that. It's the location of the coordinates multiplied by the tile size. And then the Y is something I'm just going to copy from the previous video because I can't be bothered typing it out. It's just a random stream, and then multiplied by 90. So it's just rotating the yaw by a random amount at increments of 90 degrees. And then I'm going to copy a bunch of other stuff from the last video as well, which is these two. Just so I don't have to type. I want to minimize typing, so I don't have to rely on these meat sticks, even though I'm relying on meat sticks to connect these pins right now. But you just want to set the transform and then make it loaded and visible, okay? Okay, now for selecting the level, let's just make it random right now, which I might just copy from the other video as well. So this is what this looks like. You have a random stream, we have a target array, which is potential level names, which I'll rename that. Potential level names. And then once you've got that streaming level, then let's just spawn it like that, okay? So this whole thing is spawning a level instance at whatever coordinate you give it. So if we cut that right there like this, and then collapse that to a function, this is saying spawn level instance at coordinate. And then the intervector coordinate is just in there like that. Okay, so that's spawning a single level at this coordinate. But now what we need to do is create a system that decides appropriate coordinates to spawn at, so we get that nice branching pattern where it can go this way or that way or whatever. So when we spawn a level at a coordinate, maybe what we will do before we actually spawn it is just add this to an array. Add those coordinates to an array, which will be, what would you call it? Streaming level coordinates. So this will be synced up with the streaming levels, just like that. Those two together. And I might just put this up here because that's going to be a public variable. Okay, so perhaps what we should do is when we begin play, let's just run this on the server for now only, and then I'll set up the replication so that it works on the client, whatever, in just a moment. But we're going to need a for loop, probably. So what we'll do is we'll decide how many levels we want to spawn using the for loop. So we'll have a 1 there, and then this can be num levels, or num tiles. Okay, and that's going to be a public variable. And I don't know, let's set that to like 9 or something by default. And every time this for loop fires, we're going to spawn a new level. Now, before we get a branching coordinate, maybe what we could do is we could, or to get the branching coordinate, maybe what we could do is we could get this current streaming level coordinates, and we could get a random element from the stream. By the way, if you don't know what the stream is, it's just so that we can reproduce the same level each time. It's like a seed. You seed the stream, and then you can use it to reproduce the same map. So we'll get a random element from that, but before we can get a random element from that, let's just check that the length of this is not equal to 0. Okay. So if the length of this is not equal to 0, then we can go ahead and do this. If the length of this is equal to 0, then actually the coordinates that we want to use in here, maybe a better way to do it is like this. So we'll have a select node like this. If the length is not equal to 0, then we can go ahead and select a random element from the array using the random stream. How do I make this neat? The constant battle using blueprints. That looks pretty lit to me. That's pretty aesthetic. Pretty aesthetic. Now, if the length is not equal to 0, so that returns true, we can get a random element from the stream. If it returns false, then we're going to have to make a vector which will just be 0, 0, 0, because we're going to start at the center point. Okay. So I might just comment. No, I'll comment that later. Okay, so is that done? Is that literally done? I mean, that could probably be all that we need to do, to be honest. Should we just give it a try and let's see? Now this in here is the wrong one. So I need to, I'll go back into here and then Control B to find it in the content browser, branching level gen. I'm going to add a billboard to it first. Billboard. I don't know, scale that up to like 10 or something, just so I can see it in the map. And it can sit up at 300 high, that's fine. We have our persistent tile here, which is already spawned, and then the rest of these ones are now going to spawn around it. So if I drop one of those in and then hit play, nothing whatsoever happens. Oh god. Why? What happened, I wonder? Potential level names has nothing in it. Yeah, well that's why. That's why it broke. Oh, I might actually open up that grid random levels again, and what I'll do is I'll just copy my level names from there. So the level names are just these up in your levels tab. So if I show you those, they're just these, right? And I just use them for the last tutorial. So you type them into your array here, but I'm just going to paste them so I don't have to type them. Okay, and now does it work? Cool. How many tiles was that? 8 by the look of it. Interesting. Oh, and then we got some errors. Okay, so I think one of the problems is, I can already see one problem. When we're getting a random element from the stream, to select a branching coordinate from. This branching coordinate could literally just overlap with any of the other tiles that have already spawned. So before we determine this as a valid thing to use, we need to check that it's not contained in this. So the potential, sorry, that's in the wrong spot. This branching coordinate that we get, we need to check that this is not contained in one of the already streaming levels that we've got, because otherwise it's going to double up and it's going to overlap. And if it overlaps, then this won't even create an instance, because it'll be trying to create the same thing at the same point. And because this won't be a unique instance name, it just won't spawn, which could be the reason for those errors before. So when we run this loop, let's just check that the thing that we generate, the point that we generate, this will actually have to be an impure function, because otherwise we're going to be drawing from this value twice, and it's going to get two different values. So if it's a pure function, it gets two different values. If it is an impure function, it's just this same value which is used for this check and then used in here. And yeah, so what we need to do, which is what I was saying before I just went on that tangent, is that once we get this potential coordinate, we need to check if there's a level already spawned there. And if there is, then let's just get another one. And we might want to put a limit on this to stop an infinite loop if there's like nowhere for it to spawn, but I suppose that should never actually happen. But it might get to the point where the map is so big that it just like cannot find a point, which is something I'm not going to worry about because I'm only going to use like 9 tiles. Let's see what happens. Oh wow, look at that. I think that might have worked. And no errors. Okay, so this is the starting tile. Check that out. And it's the same map each time because of the seed. Okay. So if we wanted it to be random, what we could do is has authority. Let's seed the random stream. Set random stream seed. My computer's doing this fucking glitch thing again. Let me just restart. That's a pretty wallpaper. Yeah, you can't see it on the videos, but my editor stops showing me drop down menus every now and again. I just have to restart the editor. If you know how to fix that, please let me know, because it does my head in. It does my head in. Okay, so now when we set the random stream seed, this could just be, let's just do it as a random integer in range for now, between 0 and like 1 million, and then we'll go ahead and we'll generate. Okay, it's just so we can demonstrate. Okay, there we go. So we got a different map that time, different one this time. Yeah, it's quite cool, isn't it? You never know what you're gonna get. Let's try a big number, shall we? Let's try, I don't know, 21. Wow. Super cool. Do you reckon, let's see how big it takes to break it. What if we try 100? I'm nervous with this one. Oh, wow. Check that out. Oh, we actually got a gap in that one, which is cool. Look at that. Yeah, you get these weird little like gap spots. Should we 250? Am I tempting the devil? Wow. So you could set this up. Look at those gaps. Isn't that cool? You could set this up so that it has a loading screen until the very last one is visible. Yeah, super cool. 250 didn't actually take that long. That's really cool. All right, let's drop that back down to like 12. And so now we just need to do this. We need to set this up for multiplayer. So the way that we do it for multiplayer is we want this all here to happen on each of the clients. So I'm just going to cut that and then create a new function and call this generate map and just paste that in there. Okay, I think that's fine. So that's generating the map. Now we need to call that function now, and the way that we're going to do that is, so on authority, what we're actually going to have to do is cut this as well and put this inside of generate map right at the start, so that the seed is set here, and then this is going to be called r_seed. I like to use R for my replicated variables, the ones that use a rep notify, because we're going to be using a rep notify. And how this is going to work is when we begin play, if this is the server, then we're going to set the seed to a random value between 0 and 1,000,000, and then this rep notify is going to fire to update all the clients, and then update on the clients, what we'll do is we'll generate map. Okay. So now if we have multiple players, there's my homie just there, and here is our map. So if I look over that way, we got 3 pillars and nothing happened on the client. Okay. So there's been a replication issue. Let me just put that on the big screen so that you can see it. See, the clients are in, the server and the client are in 2 different worlds right now because the replication has failed. And the reason that it failed is because we didn't actually set the actor itself to replicate. And if this is switched to off, then all of these replicated variables don't actually work. So now if we jump in, okay, it looks like it's done something. So looking straight ahead, we've got 2 towers and then some pillars on the side, and then behind us we've got some more pillars that way. Yeah, so it looks like we've got the same map on both. And then over that way we got that over there. And now if we jump in again, it will be a different map again because the seed is random each time. Yeah, there you go. Is there anything else to do? I think I might leave that one there, guys. If you want to download this, there will be project files in the description, and also check out my marketplace. I have lots of blueprints similar to like this, high quality blueprints that will make your development a lot more fun and faster, and will give you good tools to do good dev really quick. So check out all the links to that. There's my Gumroad store and the Epic Marketplace, and please like and comment on the video because that helps the algorithm. Thank you, and see you in the next one. Bye.